Jill, I'm going to be a little late getting home today from work. There are a few things prepared for dinner that I've placed in the fridge and freezer for you guys. So, can you heat those things up and eat them tonight? There would be some chicken breasts already cooked up with a platter of veggies, and then in the freezer there are some cream puffs you can pull out for dessert. You're going to be late today? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Recently, a few of my coworkers have taken some time off work. So, at least twice a week for a little while, I'll have to be staying late to finish up their work. But at least I'm getting paid overtime for the work. So, there is something great coming for covering some of their work. Ashton, do you know how old you'll be turning this year? I'll be turning 32, but what does that have to do with anything? That's exactly right. And it has to do with everything right now. I think by this point you should be having someone else cover for that overtime so that you can be home. You have me here, and a whole lot of chores that need to be taken care of all the time, that only you have the responsibility of handling. Your husband is also making money just like you, so you both don't need whatever scraps you bring in from working late. I think it's getting time you just give up on that whole job in general. My son can make sure to put in a little extra work with his job, and you won't even notice that you're not bringing in money anymore. Well, I'm not sure what'll happen in our future. There could be all kinds of emergencies that require us to have some funds saved up. And recently, we've all seen a large increase in prices across the board, from things like food and appliances to gas. While I still have the time and ability to work, I'd like to use it all to save as much as possible. I promise that in the future I'll slow down and take things a bit more easily, but I'm still young and want to use my energy for my husband's and my future. You say things like that, but soon you'll be in your 40s. What are you going to do about having kids? You only have a little bit longer before you've become too old to have decent kids of your own. You wouldn't want everybody wondering why you chose to have your kids so late, would you? My husband and I are thinking about having kids, so... Is that you telling me not to talk to you about them, then? I'm talking about this now because it's been 3 years now that I've been here and haven't seen you carrying any babies. Don't tell me that you hate kids or something like that. No, that's not the reason at all. I actually really love kids a lot and want some of my own eventually. Then you should hurry up and have some kids now. If you want to have them, even having them in your 30s is a bit late. Don't make your kids suffer by having them later and making them live through their parents' deaths while they're still in high school or something. I'm sure that some might see having kids later in life as a problem, but we both are waiting for the right time, and unfortunately, we are not confident that right now is that time. You and your husband can make time to have kids right now, though. Especially since I'm here now, living with the both of you. If you're worried about having to raise them, I'm right here to give you support and caring and watching over the kids anytime you need a break. I'm sorry. I'm really thankful that you're willing to do all that for me. But my husband and I will be the ones deciding on the right time to start having kids. If I leave that choice up to you two, who knows when you guys will decide to have them? And within this whole neighborhood, I'm the only woman that doesn't have any grandkids yet. Do you even know how embarrassing that is for me? Because to me, it feels like you enjoy me being the laughingstock of this town. Embarrassing? Laughingstock? I'm sorry, but I don't think something like that should bother you. And that's because you're not close with anyone else in the neighborhood, right? When you get to my age, you'll realize that everyone is talking about their kids and grandkids in front of you. And every time I'm not able to add something to their conversations is because of you. I can tell that they all laugh behind my back about it. It's not easy for me to handle that kind of embarrassment, Ashton. Do you think you can wait a little bit longer for us? Having kids is a pretty big change in one's life. And even if we did plan to have kids right now, it can take some time to actually get pregnant, so the baby might not come as soon as you think. Ashton, could all of this mean that you are infertile? Huh? Well, I have the right to ask about that, right? Acting the way you have has made me skeptical about whether you can actually have a baby or not. So, are you infertile or not? I'm not. I'm not trying to hide anything like that from you. Have you been going to the hospital at all? You should get yourself tested for that. Jill, I never said that I'm having troubles making any babies. And I've gone in a couple times in the past few years to get checkups from a doctor, and they say I'm completely healthy. Really? I'm being serious. Well, then I have no idea then as to why you don't want to have any kids right now. I understand that back when my husband had his stroke, times were a bit tough here. But now we're all living happily together here, right? We don't have to worry about taking care of him anymore. So now we have our hands free to raise some babies. You are missing out on a really good chance right now, and that's not going to be you that missing the chance ends up hurting. Jill, I am sorry, but I have to get back to work here soon. I have a meeting to get to, and so we should wrap all of this up. You can eat what's prepared in the fridge for dinner tonight. Just make sure that my husband knows as well so that he can help you warm everything up on the grill. And just like always, you're using your job as an excuse to run away from me. It keeps you from doing your chores as well. At least start doing a bit more for this house than you have been. I'm tired of having to clean up after you because you spend too much time focusing on that job. Understood. I'll try harder from now on to put a bit more time into doing chores. I understand that you will, but I also want you to start thinking about having some kids a bit more seriously. As a wife, your number one job is to bring kids into the family. And I know you don't want to know what happens to married women when they choose not to have any kids. Ashton, you're coming back from your business trip today, right? Yes, I am. Right now I'm on the plane, but the Wi-Fi connected so that I can talk with you. It shouldn't be more than an hour now before the plane lands and I get my bags. What time will you be arriving at the airport exactly? Well, I'm not sure now because we did take off a little bit late. Will you be able to make dinner tonight? I think that I'll be home by that time. But if not, would you be willing to cook something for my husband and yourself tonight? Maybe. Let's just hope that you do get home soon. If you cannot get here in time, then I'll be in trouble. After all, you weren't home at all yesterday, right? I had to cook then. And at my age, being around a gas stove can be very dangerous. Especially after having to do all of those chores for you while my son worked. But you're coming home today, so you'd better make me something to eat. Actually, I'm counting on it. Also, it's a bit strange to me that even though your mother-in-law is living in the house now, you still go on business trips, leaving me here all alone. I'm sorry. You're always apologizing to me about everything. Don't you ever say anything else besides sorry when someone is upset with you. I'm not doing that as a way of getting out of this, though. I say sorry because I truly am sorry for what I have to put you through. Ashton, I've said this for a long time now. Don't you think it's getting time to quit that job of yours? What kind of company is that asking a married woman to leave her home for days at a time, still to go on business trips? I think you're better off leaving a messed up company like that and coming back home full time to take care of me and your husband. I still do not plan on leaving my place at this company. I happen to really like the work I do here, and it's something to get me out of the house and give me a chance to talk with some different people. It's just that this time's business trip just happened to be a little irregular. After this, I don't think there will be any more this year. Actually, there won't be because I was told I only have to do them a couple of times a year, and now it's been 3 times. What I'm trying to say isn't just regarding things like that business trip, though. Do you want to leave your husband behind or something? I have never thought about leaving my husband like you're suggesting. Him and I both know that I love my job, and he agrees that it's good for me to go out and work just like him while we don't have any major responsibilities at home. Well, then it's getting time for you to start having babies with him so that you do have some major responsibilities. A wife that's not willing to get pregnant for her husband is a waste. If you don't want a divorce in the near future, make sure to start getting pregnant. I do want to have kids of my own someday. But as for the 2 of us, even if we cannot have kids of our own, we aren't going to use that as a reason to get some divorce or anything. We both love each other very much, and so having kids or not isn't going to be what keeps us together or not. Even if you and my son think that, I beg to differ. And back in my day, a wife that doesn't come around to having any kids is bound to be divorced. That's how important your role as the wife is supposed to be. Why do you think I keep bringing all of this up to you? Even if you say things like that, all I'm trying to say is that my husband and I trust and love each other over things that don't involve having kids or not. This isn't about the love you both share. Getting married isn't the only thing you both have to do as a couple. I only have 1 son, right? If you're not willing to have any kids, then my family line will end with the both of you. But my husband told me that he has a few cousins, right? I'm talking about my immediate family. And I'm sure that the rest of the broader family would be upset with you right now for what you're doing. You're a married woman, yet you act as though you're a man working full-time and putting the chores of the house behind you. You really don't care about the house, do you? And don't tell me you do, because I already know you don't. Everyone is getting tired of you. Jill, I believe I've told you this before, but right now my husband and I are thinking about having kids. So please, stop trying to rush things for us. Well, if you don't want me rushing things for you, then hurry up and make some babies. If not, then I can see you really aren't thinking about having kids after all. All you ever do is make excuses about this and then run. I think you really don't want any kids then. Right? I'm spot on with that one, aren't I? That is not at all how I feel about having kids. A useless wife like you is worthless in my family. If you want to act like that, then I'm going to have to start thinking about having you both divorced. Jill, please don't think that you have to say things like that. Well, if you don't want me talking about it, then do as you've been told. I'm tired of listening to all your poor excuses now. A wife that cannot give birth to any kids for me has no worth. I think you should be thinking a bit more about how this is affecting my son's happiness as well. It's what makes being human so amazing, is that we can look forward to passing on our genes. But if you're telling me that you don't even want to do that, then why even live anymore, Ashton? Ashton, have you finished the cleaning I asked you to do? I've cleaned both the living room and the floors all throughout the house for you. And you made sure to put down a new layer of wax on the floor, right? Yes, I've made sure to get it all evenly poured out. And right now I'm having lunch. Once I'm done taking a little break to eat, I'll go and clean out the bath as well. You really are so slow when it comes to cleaning, just like I expected. Well, whatever. Once you have all of that done, your next job will be packing all of your things up. Packing my things up? What things of mine need to be handled right now? All of your things need to be packed away. Why all of my things, though? I have all my things well kept at the moment. You know exactly why I'm asking you that. I'm having you leave this house soon. Huh? And why would I have to leave my house? Are you that slow, Ashton? I'm telling you that you're getting a divorce from my son. Actually, I have a young friend of mine, and she's in her early 20s right now. She's not even working any job right now, so she can become my son's next wife. I think she'll fit right into this family way better than you have. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm telling you that I'll have this young woman marry my son instead of you. Stop trying to make me say more than I have to say here. I don't think that my husband is going to go through with that like you think. My son will understand why he has to do this and step up to do the right thing for me. After all, I'm the one that runs this house now. You don't run this house. The only reason we even allowed you to come live with us is because you came crying to us begging to let you in. That was back when your husband had a stroke. And since you couldn't manage on your own, you came asking that we let you stay here. Even if that's the case, my son will not go against anything I ask of him. And now I'm giving him the chance to marry a much more young and cute woman. I don't think any man would pass that kind of chance up. Jill, I've talked with you plenty times now, but this time you're being a real jerk. If you really want me out of the house that badly, then I'll go. But it won't just be me leaving the house, but my husband as well. I had to do all of this because you chose not to have any kids. There's no reason to have a wife around that's not willing to have a baby at a young age. And also, it's not just me that thinks you're useless and unnecessary in this house. My husband wants you out of here as well. You told me that already.
Hey, you stop all of this right now, you. When did I ever say such a thing?
Huh? Who is that? Could this be you losing your mind now that I've told you you have to divorce my son?
This would be your husband.
Huh?
Jill, you know that I've been at the house right now. And I'm here eating the lunch that my very sweet daughter-in-law has made for me. Because she was getting message after message from you today. I asked her what you were both talking about. And that's when I learned that you're trying to have Ashton leave the house. And make our son marry an even younger woman.
Huh? Is this really you, Douglas?
I already told you it's me. I was able to borrow Ashton's smartphone from her. So what the hell is going on here? Why are you acting this way towards your daughter-in-law?
It isn't that, Douglas. I just want to see her have a grandbaby for us. And so I thought I'd try and help her get to that point sooner.
You only want to see a grandbaby for your own sake, right?
That's right, but all of my friends around me have grandkids that they get to talk about. Don't you want to see our son have a baby?
If he has the baby, then I will want to see them. But having a baby is not up to Ashton. It's going to be her and our son raising the baby after all. So they get to make that choice together. We have no right to be forcing them to make one now.
But look, Ashton is always putting her job ahead of everything else.
And Ashton is also doing everything she can for her house. Today is her day off from work, and yet she's been getting at the chores ever since she got out of bed. Yet if someone like you with all that time in your hands were to step in and help, she could actually take time to rest. Why are you making Ashton do everything here?
I'm not making her do anything, though. I make sure to clean the dishes after lunch and dinner.
There is a dishwasher in this house. All you do is load it and push a button. As I remember, it's not you that's putting all the dishes and silverware away after they're cleaned. So tell me what you actually do for this household.
I make sure to go out with people in the neighborhood. She never does any of this, so I have to make sure they know we're still around.
Going out with people in the neighborhood. All you're doing is gossiping with your other friends. Jill, I've had enough of this from you. We've been warning you about putting all of this work onto Ashton on her days off. And now I can see that even after doing so, you turn around and say terrible things to her. This is all very unforgivable. If you really have such a problem with the way she manages her family and life, then maybe it's you that needs to leave this house.
Oh, wait a second. You think that I need to leave? You have to be joking, right?
I'd never joke about something as serious as this. It was when I happened to have that stroke that Ashton was kind enough to let you stay here while I was in the hospital. But if all you're going to do is pick on her after what she's done, then she has no need for a mother-in-law like you within her house.
I have not been picking on her. All I want is for her to bear a grandchild from me.
Who was it again that got so upset that her mother-in-law was bullying her right after getting married? My mom said the same thing as you, asking for you to have a baby. Yet it seems you haven't learned anything from the way she horribly treated you. Back then, you told her that you wanted to wait a little bit before having a kid, right? Well, now you're the one doing the thing you really hated about what my mom did to you right now.
Well, back then I was still young.
Yeah, you're just wanting to say that as an excuse so that you don't get blamed for being a jerk. A woman that thinks it's fine to pick on others is not needed here. Hurry up, grab your things, and get out of here.
Douglas, I'm so sorry about that. I never meant to be mean to her or anything. I've just been very worried about her and our son. I'm sure that some things I said came out a little harshly, but...
This isn't about the way you've said things. You just threatened Ashton with a divorce, and told her that you'd make our son marry a younger woman. Are you not aware of just how many stupid things you've tried to pull with Ashton?
Douglas, I'm so sorry. I see now that I messed up, so please forgive me.
I'm not the one you should be apologizing to right now.
I'll apologize to Ashton for this as well.
Then, you stop playing with all your friends right now and get back here, and all the chores that are still left to do will be done by you. You had a lot of things you had to do today, before going out with friends and yelling at Ashton.
Jill, how is my husband doing? Do you think he'll be able to forgive me yet? Can't you go and tell him to forgive me already? I only have you to count on now, so please help me.
I told you already to stop talking to Ashton.
Huh? Is this you, Douglas?
That's right. I told Ashton to let me know if she ever got any more texts or calls from you, and she did. You still have not come around to understanding what you've done wrong.
But not even you or our son are willing to respond to me when I try to talk to you guys. I have given so much for the two of you. I cannot believe that the two of you would kick me out of the house.
We did it because you thought it was fine to pick on your daughter-in-law, right? And when I had that stroke, the only person that gave her time to come and help me was Ashton, right? When I had to stay in the hospital for a year. You never came to see me, and only went on vacations with all your friends.
That's because Ashton was there to help, so I was able to have some time to myself. That's right, I trusted her with you. I trusted her then, so I knew she could take care of you.
I don't believe a single piece of that. Jill, you haven't learned anything from what's happened. Why is it so hard for you to apologize for everything you did and change? That one chance we gave you to apologize to Ashton, you came and had the most unapologetic look on your face while saying sorry.
That's just my normal face.
Then take that face and turn it into something more acceptable. Because right now, I don't want to see that unapologetic face you have. If you can make that happen, then maybe I'll consider letting you come back to stay with Ashton.
Huh? So, if I don't, I can't come back?
As long as Ashton is here, there's no reason for you to be around. And as for myself, if I do happen to become sick again, I plan on going into a retirement home to be cared for.
Wait, then what will happen to me?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're not being serious right now, right? Do you not care about what happens to me? Right now I'm living out of a dang hotel room. I can't stay out of a house forever. It can't happen to me.
Well, until you've actually learned to become a nice person, you'll stay out of this house.
I told you that I have learned from my mistakes and I am becoming better.
Someone that's really changed for the better would never have to tell me that.
Please, Douglas. Please do not throw me away like this. Come on. Douglas, please. Reply to me right now.
Jill, this is Ashton.
Ashton?
Since you and I are no longer living with one another anymore, I thought it would be kind of me to say my farewells.
You don't have to talk to me like that, so hand me back to my husband now. It is all because of you that I've been kicked out of that house. Do you not feel any kind of remorse for what's happened to me?
Well, if you still have the energy to say things like that to me, I think you'll be alright on the streets.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm really having a hard time living like the way I am right now. My husband even canceled my credit card on me, and I don't have any cash left to use.
I have no intentions of telling your husband that what he's doing is wrong.
But if you forgive me for what's happened, then I'm sure that my husband will forgive me as well.
The reason that all of this is happening to you now is because you had it all coming. And on another note, I spoke with my husband and made a decision. We're going to be cutting all ties with you. And so because of that, I'll be blocking your phone number as well as deleting you from any of my social media apps. So although it wasn't that long or great, thank you for being there for me.
Wait, Ashton. I'm so very sorry. I promise that I'll apologize to you properly next time. I'll get on my hands and knees so that you know I'm being sincere. So please find a way to forgive me.
I'm very sorry to tell you this, but I never planned to forgive you. I have tried my hardest to forget about all the things you've said to me, but you really did scar me with all those hurtful things. You are my husband's mom, and so I wanted to find a way to make things right between us. But my husband and my father-in-law both told me that it's best to just let you go for good. So from now on, the two of us will have nothing to do with you.
Ashton, just forgive me, please.
I really did say some horrible things to you, and I want you to know that I'm sorry for all of that. No matter how hard you try and apologize to me, nothing will change. Now, I have some preparations to make before we move, so I'll be going now. Huh? You guys are already moving out? Looking for a house should have taken you guys a lot longer than that, right? Actually, a while back, my husband and I had been planning on moving out of the house. And because of that, we'd slowly been packing things up and getting ready. So that's why we'll be able to leave here soon. Ashton, please! I won't ask you anymore to let me live with you guys, and I won't even force you both to see me. But can you at least tell me that you forgive me? If you don't, my husband will never let me move back home. Why do you think I'd do something to help you? After all the horrible things you did to me, there's no way I can just easily say that I forgive you, right? And what would be in it for me if I helped you out? This isn't about you getting anything from helping me. I'm still your mother-in-law, right? And I've apologized for pretty much everything now. Well, listen, Jill. I don't want to sound rude by saying any of this, but there's no reason for someone like you to be a part of my family. A mother-in-law that bullies her son's wife is useless and has no worth in this house. From there, my husband and I moved out of that house and left my father-in-law to live there and moved to a new place to live on our own. Jill has been going to that house every day and will sit out front from morning until dark saying that she's sorry for what happened. There are a lot of people in the neighborhood that can see her, and to make sure that she doesn't make the rest of the family look bad, we asked Douglas to let her back in the house. Although we may have been a bit too kind to Jill, it's much better that we know where she is at all times, so that she doesn't show up around us at some random time asking for forgiveness. However, only just a bit after letting her in, Douglas found a retirement home to move into and was gone the very next morning before she could talk to him and ask him to stay. And along with that, he sold the house, and Jill was forced back onto the streets where she wouldn't have any place to go for protection. She no longer has the money to afford a hotel, and so she has to sleep outdoors while she slowly begins to lose her mind. She's in her late 60s now, but at least she's still young enough where she could find a job. Although she's never worked before in her life, so that might not work out too well for her. But even if it seems awful of me to say this, I think all of this is deserved by her. And so she can rot out there with nobody to care about her. Now, as for Douglas, he was lying to her when he said he moved to a retirement home, and used that chance to move in with my husband and I. Now he's been living here doing chores for us while we work, and never complaining about anything we do as a couple. It's been quite nice having him here to do all that for us, and I found out that he's a really good cook when it comes to using the grill. Also, just a year after moving into this new house, I found out that I'm pregnant. So because of that, I'll be leaving my job and staying at home to relax before giving birth to our first baby. And of course, I'll never let Jill meet them when they come into this world. And I'll have my father-in-law right there to help me with their recovery after. So the only ones getting to celebrate their birth will be my husband and I, along with my father-in-law. I said it before that she had left some scars, but really, I've been having a really hard time forgetting about all those terrible things Jill said to me. I may be stuck having some bad memories of her, but I'm at least happy that she'll never be around anymore to hurt me. And even better, she'll never be able to see the grandchild that she tried so hard to force me to have.